Dear students, welcome you all to the industrial pharmacy class. In today's session, we will discuss some other topics in the chapter compression and compaction. And today topics are compression, consolidation, and Haeckel plots. We will discuss in today's lecture. Dear students, the main objective is to learn about the compression process as well as consolidation and Haeckel plots. Dear students, after the completion of this lecture, you will be able to learn about the following topics regarding the compaction and compression, including compression, consolidation, and Haeckel plots. First of all, we will discuss the compression process. Compression is basically we have defined in the previous lecture, and I have also told you that the term compression is also used in the mechanism of the particle size reduction, that is milling, that is something else. Compression and particle deformation and rearrangements. The following three principal modes of deformation are as follows. The first one is elastic deformation. The second is plastic deformation. And the third one is brittle fracture. These are the three principles or modes of deformation. First of all, we will discuss the elastic deformation. That what is meant by elastic deformation. A spontaneously reversible deformation of the compact mass in which, upon removal of the load, the powder mass reverts back to its original form or original position. Most materials undergo elastic deformation to some extent. In most cases, elastic deformation behavior is followed by most of the materials. Compression of rubber would be by elastic deformation. That is one of the example of the elastic deformation, that when we remove the load or the force, the material or the powder mass reverts back to its original position. For example, if we apply force on rubber, then due to elastic nature, after the removal of the force or load, the rubber will reverts back to its original form. The second one is termed as plastic deformation. After exceeding the elastic limit of the material, that is yield point, the deformation may become plastic, that is, the particles undergo viscous flow. This is the predominant mechanism when the shear strength between the particles is less than the breaking strength. In this case, it is necessary to keep the shear strength below the breaking strength. Plastic deformation is a time-dependent process. The third one is termed as brittle fracture. Upon exceeding the elastic limit of the material, that is yield point, the particles undergo brittle fracture if the shear strength between the particles is greater than the breaking strength. In the previous, that is plastic deformation, the shear strength between the particles is less than the breaking strength, but in brittle fracture in this condition the shear strength between the particle is greater than the breaking strength. Under these conditions, the larger particles are sheared and broken into smaller particles, and they are fractured. That is termed as brittle fracture. And shear strength is greater in this case as compared to the previous one. You can see that is the stages of the compression, single-ended compression, that is the upper punch and lower punch before compressing the mass, that is the rearrangement will occur, and if the material is elastic limit is exceeded, then what will happen, and the plastic deformation and viscous flow or either the brittle fracture will occur. Another topic we will discuss in the 2-day lecture, that is consolidation. Recalling from the definition, again I am going to repeat the consolidation definition. Consolidation is a process that involving an increase in the mechanical strength of the material resulting from particle or particle interaction, that is increasing mechanical strength of the mass. Consolidation process is comprised of cold welding and fusion bonding. Let's discuss cold welding and fusion bonding. That's what is meant by cold welding. When the surface of two particles approaches each other closely enough, their free surface energy result in strong attractive forces. Recalling from the first discussion in the chapter, then we have discussed the solid air interface, that adhesion and cohesion occur, and the surface free surface energy is responsible for the attraction between the similar particles or particles of the other, that is in this case, that's when the surface of two particles approaches each other closely enough, their free surface energy results in strong attractive forces, process known as cold welding. For example, at separation of less than 50 nanometer, when the distance is kept less than that, then the cold welding will occur. That is the strong attractive forces due to the closeness of the two particles, and it is due to the free surface energy resulting in the strong attractive forces, and that process is termed as cold welding. The second one is fusion bonding. Multiple point contacts of particles upon application of load produces heat which causes fusion or melting. Upon removal of load, it gets solidified and increase in the mechanical strength of the mass. Now in this part of the lecture we will discuss the consolidation mechanism. There are different theories involving behind the consolidation mechanism, including mechanical theory, intermolecular force theory, and liquid surface film theory. Now we will discuss mechanical theory, that is the consolidation mechanism. By using this theory, it occurs between irregular shaped particles, also increases the number of contact points between the particles. As the particle undergo deformation, the particle boundaries at the edges of the particle intermesh, forming a mechanical bond. Remember that this occurs between the irregular shaped particle and increase the number of contact points between the particle according to the mechanical theory. The second one is intermolecular force theory. Under pressure, the molecules at the points of true contact between new clean surface of the granules are close enough so that van der Waals forces interact to consolidate the particle, enhancing or increasing the mechanical strength. For example, microcrystalline cellulose, abbreviated as MCC, is believed to undergo significant hydrogen bonding during tablet compression, and that is involving the intermolecular force theory under the pressure of molecules as the points of true contact between new clean surfaces of the granules are close enough. That is due to the van der Waals forces, but in this case that is the microcrystalline cellulose that is believed to undergo significant hydrogen bonding during the process of tablet compression, and by this way the mechanical strength is increased. Third one is liquid surface film theory. Then liquid film form which bond the particles together at the particle surface. In this case, thin liquid film formation is responsible for bonding of the particles, and by this way the particles bond together the particle surface. The energy of compression produces melting of solution at the particles interface, followed by subsequent solidification or crystallization, thus in the formation of bonded surface. By this way, the consolidation is achieved. There are different factors which affect the process of consolidation in both the cold welding and fusion welding. The process is influenced by several factors, including the chemical nature of the material, the extent of the available surface, the pressure of the surface contaminants, and the inter-surface distance. These are some of the factors that is involved in both the cold welding and as well as the fusion welding, and that affect the process of consolidation. Now we will discuss compression and consolidation under high loads. That we have discussed what is compression and what is consolidation, and under high loads there are different factors like effects of friction, force distribution, development of radial force, die wall lubrication and ejection forces. These affects the compression and consolidation under high loads. First of all, we will discuss the effects of friction. In effects of friction, we will discuss the interparticulate friction as well as the die wall friction. An interparticulate friction which arises at particle-particle contacts and can be expressed as interparticulate friction coefficient, that is designated as mu I, that is interparticulate friction coefficient. It is more significant at low applied load. Gradients reduce the interparticulate friction and promote the flow of powder. The role of gradients is hereby explained that what is the role of gradient. Gradient reduces the interparticulate friction and promote the flow properties of the powder. The second one is die wall friction. This results from material being pressed against the die wall and moved down it, and it can be expressed as die wall friction coefficient mu W. The second that is force distribution. Most investigations are carried out on single station presses, that is also termed as eccentric presses, or even on isolated punches and die sets in conjugation with hydraulic press. These must be an axial balance of forces, can be using this equation, that is Fa is equal to Fl plus Fd, where Fa is applied force to the upper punch. We can calculate that is the combination of the force transmitted to lower punch and adding that is the reaction at die wall due to friction at surface. By using this equation we can evaluate and determine the applied force to the upper punch. You can see in the diagram that is a typical sample punch compression machine and die assembly used for compaction studies, and the different forces, that is FA, FR, FL, FD, as well as H naught, H and D, are shown in this figure. Development of radial force, as the compression force has increased and the repacking of tableting mass is completed, the material may be regarded as a single solid body. Then, as with all other solids, compressive force applied in one direction, for example at only one direction, that is vertical direction, result in decrease in delta H, that is the height. In this case, the delta H will be that is the change in the height, that is the delta H. From here it is that is the H, and it is converted into this area by application of the forces of the force in the one direction. That's height is decreased. In case of unconfined solid body, this would be accompanied by an expansion in the horizontal direction of the delta D. That is the delta D when it is in the horizontal position, while in the vertical position that is the delta H. If we apply the force over this area, then this height will become lesser toward decrease toward this one, and that is the delta H. Similarly, at horizontal point, if we apply the force, then it becomes change in this direction. The ratio of these two-dimensional changes is known as Poisson ratio, lambda abbreviated as symbolized as lambda of the material. Lambda is equal to delta D by delta H, where delta D, that is the horizontal direction, and delta H, that is the vertical decrease in the vertical direction. And lambda is the characteristic constant for each solid. Consequently, a radial die wall force, that is FR, develops perpendicular to the die wall surface, that is FR. You can see that is FR, and FL is also over there, and FA. These are the different that is the radial die wall force. FR develops perpendicular to the die wall surface. Material with larger value of lambda give rise to large values of FR. The relationship between FD and FR is given by the expression FD is equal to mu W by FR multiplied by FR, where mu W is a coefficient of die wall friction. Die wall friction. Die wall lubricant function by interposing a film of low shear strength at the interface between tableting mass and die wall. There is some mechanical bonding between boundary lubricant and the surface of die wall, as well as at the edge of the tablet. The best lubricants are those that is here the characteristic property of the best lubricants are given, that are those of low shear strength but have strong cohesive tendency and direction at right angle to the plane of shear. And ejection forces are also involved. Force necessary to eject a finished tablet. When the tablets are compressed, then the final step is the ejection. Ejection force is also involved, necessary to eject a finished tablet. Ejection force for a finished tablet consists of three stages, that is stage number 1, 2 and 3. Stage 1, peak force required to initiate injection by breaking of tablet die wall adhesion. That is the first stage. The second stage, small force that required to push the tablet up to the die wall, and the last one, that is declining force of ejection, as the tablet emerges from the die. In many tableting processing, we have to uh, determine the force volume relationship. That what is the relationship of force to volume. In many tableting processes, when appreciable force has been applied, the relationship between applied pressure, designated as capital P, and volume parameters such as porosity, this is E, does become linear over the range of commonly used pressure. It can be expressed by Shapiro equation. Log E is equal to log E naught minus Kp, where E naught is the porosity when pressure is 0. K is constant at P is pressure. Walker expressed similarly, 1 by 1 minus E is equal to K1 minus K2 multiplied by log P. That is the Walker expression, and here that is the Shapiro equation. That is for determination of the relationship between the applied force and volume. So force volume relationship can be expressed by these two equations, like Shapiro equation as well as Walker expression. You can see in this figure, that is if we plot uh, log F versus E, that is the first one, as you can see from this point onward. Before this, that is the one, that is initial depicting of the particle, and the second one is elastic deformation until elastic limit is reached, and the third one is plastic deformation and our brittle fracture dominates, and the last one, that is compression of solid crystal lattice formation. That is analogous to first order reaction, where the pores and the mass are reactant. That is log 1 by E is equal to Ky multiplied by P plus Kr, where Ky is a material dependent constant inversely proportional to its yield strength, that is S, and Kr is the initial depicting stage, hence E naught. Now we will discuss the Haeckel equation, the applied compressional force F, and the moments of the punches during a compression cycle, and applied pressure P, porosity E for a cylindrical tablet. P is equal to 4F multiplied by pi d square, where d is the tablet diameter. Similarly, E can be calculated by E is equal to 100 multiplied by 1 minus 4W by rho T multiplied by pi d square H, where W is the weight of the tableting mass, rho T is the true density, H is the thickness of the tablet. And in this case, D is the tablet diameter. Now there are some plots that is termed as Haeckel plots, type A and type B. You can see type A plots that exhibits higher slope. You can see that is the higher slope than the type B, because type A material have lower yield stress. Type B plots exhibit lower slope, it is the lower slope, because of the brittle hard materials are more difficult to compress, that is the compression force. And finally the reference, that is the Lachman, the theory and practice of industrial pharmacy, 3rd edition, pages consulted 72 to 83. Let's overview the today topic. that we have discussed in this lecture. It is compression and the different principles in the compression, including the plastic, deformation, as well as elastic deformation, and the third one, that is brittle fracture. That we have discussed in this topic of the consolidation. And then we discuss in detail about the elastic deformation, that is a spontaneously reversible deformation process of the compact mass. When the load is removed, the material will be reverts or revert back to its original form. Like the rubber, that is one of the elastic deformation example. But most materials undergo deformation, that is elastic deformation, due to some extent. Then we discuss plastic deformation. That's after exceeding the elastic limit of the material, that is the yield point or yield value, the deformation may become plastic. That is, the particles undergo viscous flow. This is the predominant mechanism when the shear strength between the particle is less than the breaking strength. And the last one, that is brittle fracture. Upon exceeding the elastic limit of the material, the particles undergo brittle fracture if the shear strength between the particle is greater than the breaking strength. And that is the stages shown. That is the brittle fracture and rearrangement initially, when force is not applied. After force applied, rearrangement occur, and then it depend upon the material limit, either it is elastic or plastic, or brittle fracture will occur in the material depending upon the force and depending upon the material nature. Then we discuss the consolidation process, including cold welding, fusion bonding, and cold welding. That is the particle closeness to one another surface, and their free surface energy resulting in strong attractive forces. The process is termed as cold welding. For example, at separation of less than 50 nanometer, fusion welding, multiple point contacts of particles occur, and that application of load producing heat energy which causes fusion or melting, and that is responsible for the increasing the mechanical strength of the mass. And then we discuss in detail the consolidation mechanism involving the different theories, including mechanical theory, intermolecular force theory, and liquid surface film theory. The different factors affecting consolidation involving in both cold welding and fusion welding, influencing the several factors like the chemical nature of the material, the extent of the available surface, the pressure of the surface contaminants, as well as the inter-surface distance. Then we discuss in detail the compression and consolidation under high load, including effects of friction, force distribution, development of radial force, die wall lubrication, and ejection forces. Force volume relationship discussed in detail. By using this figure, initial repacking, elastic deformation, plastic deformation of brittle fracture, and finally compression of solid crystal lattice formation uh, by plotting log F against E. Then we discuss the Haeckel equation, Haeckel plots. Thank you all for your attention.